Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another week of football. It's the first week of playoffs for NFL and the top four for college football. And, so the Longhorns did not survive even a week more than the Cowboys. Yeah, let's get into that. So the game starts, and luckily there wasn't any issue with like the snow and stuff down here in Texas causing trouble with Cotton Bowl, but the game starts, and pretty much immediately, Ohio drives down the field and scores 7 points. That concerned me. That was concerning. But after that point, we did start locking down in the first half. We kept their wide receivers from getting deep plays. We limited them to like short to medium plays, and eventually we got stops on their side of the field. And so our defense was solid the first half, and we just weren't able to capitalize it on offense. And that was frustrating, and the game kind of got mired down into this like more defensive struggle. But eventually we were able to march down the field, and right at the end of the first half, we get a touchdown, and it's 7-7, which is great, awesome. And then one play later, Ohio State gets a touchdown pretty much immediately, and pretty much erases all our hard work in an instant. So yeah, that sucked. That was terrible. And that kind of becomes a theme here where it's like we struggle hard, and eventually we get points, we get touchdowns, but then Ohio pretty much immediately responds back and just is able to do something pretty comfortably, pretty easily that took us a lot of struggling to do. And so eventually we get a stop, and we get another touchdown, but then Ohio State gets a touchdown, and it's pretty late into the game at this point, but we do what we do well all season. We slowly marching down the field, draining away the clock. We're right there, right at the goal line. We just need to get this touchdown to tie the game back up, and we get stuffed on the first play. That's fine. And then first off, we get a pass interference penalty that basically makes it to where we have 5 tries. So first try, that was the pass interference penalty. Second try, that was getting stuffed in the line. Third try, we run some sweep play, and it fails miserably, and we are brought back not on the goal line. And that was a bad play call. I understand why Stark did it, but it's still a bad play. Like you got to put your trust in the offensive line. I know that they weren't doing super well for most of the game, but like this is one of the stronger offensive lines in the league, and in this kinds of moment you got to put trust in that. Like, I'm not saying that what I'm basically saying is that we shouldn't have the fear that Oklahoma game had, where they got that big goal line stand, and just not a good play call. I don't agree with it, even if I understand why he did it. So that pretty much puts us in 4th down and must win situation. And then so Ewers snaps the ball, he's looking, and then a guy topples right over and he fumbles the ball, and they run it back for a 98-yard scoop and score pick 6. And by that point, the game's over. It's 28-14. Yeah, we're not winning this. And to seal the deal on it, Ewers gets an interception, and yeah, just the game ends 28-14. Really disappointing way to go out this season. I got a lot of things I'm thinking of. First off, Ewers, you served us well. It's time to go into the draft. I don't think you're going to be a starter. You're definitely not going to be a starter at the start of your rookie season, but you have a good, I'd imagine you have a pretty good job as a backup. Maybe a couple of years from now you can prove yourself as like a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. But for now, I wouldn't say that. With that said, all of luck to Ewers. I guess my next thought, this loss, it stings, but I feel like the Washington one stung a little more, because the Washington one, it felt like we were really out of the game for pretty much the entire time. And the only reason it got as close as it was because we got a touchdown late, and then one of the Washington players on offense got injured, and that gave us way more time than we would have to get the game tied up. But still, I feel like this game, it was a lot closer, because there was never a point where we were out of it until like the last 2 minutes when that pick six happened. But yeah, we have improved over these past couple of years under Stark, and hopefully with Manning under the helm now, we will continue to improve and move forward and stuff. And last thing I think I want to talk about is Stark. I heard at least one person say, oh, that goal line decision is a near fireable. No, it's not a fireable offense. Stark has commandeered this ship very well. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Winning 10-plus win seasons for the first time in forever for the Longhorns. A championship game in the conference. Granted, it was the last conference, not the conference we're currently in. Getting into the playoffs twice, winning 2 playoff games. Granted, they're the 2 new playoff games. And, this team, it's a good team. Hopefully, over the next few years, it'll be a great team. And I still feel like our window is still open. Like, this doesn't feel like the end of this era of Longhorns. It feels like we're in sort of the middle part, right? So we still got a lot to prove. We still got a lot we can improve on. And just the future for this team is still really good. We are losing a bunch of players to the draft, but Stark's been really good at recruiting and scouting and all that. And so, like, we lost a lot of players in last draft, and we lost our star running back in the draft before, and we were able to find new recruits for that. So yeah, I don't think we'll have to worry too much about the draft and like all the talent we're going to be losing there. So yeah, that's the Longhorns. Their season comes to an end. The Quinn Ewer era is coming to a close, and the Arch Manning era begins here in Texas, and it's an exciting path looking forward here. So yeah, that's the Longhorns' disappointing end to the season. But as for the rest of college football, and by the rest of college football, I mean the Orange Bowl with Notre Dame Penn State. This is a game where, regardless of who won, narratives were going to be reinforced. It's going to be either, oh, Herpa Derpa, Notre Dame is terrible, they haven't done anything in 40 years, or Herpa Derpa, James Franklin and Penn State can't win big games against top 5 opponents. And at the end of the day, it was James Franklin and Penn State whose narrative has not changed. Notre Dame won that game. Penn State was up like 10-0 at one point, but Notre Dame came back in the second half and ended up winning that in a very close game. It was a very close game. Like, it was just like the first half was a really defensive, grindy match, and the second half was very like an offensive, like, I'm gonna say shootout, but that's not technically accurate. But like a lot more offense in the second half than in the first half. And like it was like I said, close game. It was tied for a lot of it. Notre Dame got the lead, then the lead changed to Penn State, then it got tied, and then Penn State had the ball and were ready to march down the field, and then Drew Allard threw an interception that basically all but sealed the game for Notre Dame. They got the winning kick, and Notre Dame's going to the national title game. I swear, am I gonna hate watch Notre Dame into a freaking national championship game? I swear, man. I mean, granted, the last time Notre Dame was here, they got throttled, but the difference is the last time that they were here, they had a head coach who, after getting into a massive deficit in said national championship game, basically said, the only way we're winning this is if the Alabama doesn't come out of that locker room. Marcus Freeman is not Brian Kelly, and he would never say that. So that is something different with this Notre Dame team from the last time. But with that said, it's Notre Dame. So in all likelihood, they will totally Notre Dame this thing and keep this 40-year drought going. But yeah, that's the setup for the national championship game here in college football. It's going to be Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Oh God, the national championship game is going to be Ohio State versus Notre Dame. That's sad. That's really sad. So Notre Dame, Ohio State. I don't want either of these two teams to win. I guess maybe I can think of it as rooting for the transitive win. Michigan versus Northern Illinois. Yeah, that's a better way of thinking of it. But yeah, national championship game, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Looking forward to that, I guess. And so, now time to talk about professional football. Obviously, actually, Okay, I'll talk about the playoffs first, and then I'll talk about the McCarthy firing. So, NFL. The first game was Chargers-Texans. I watched this on the Nickelodeon broadcast because I wanted to watch on the Nickelodeon broadcast. SpongeBob and Patrick are commentating. I had to watch that. Come on. But yeah, that was fun. That was an enjoyable broadcast to watch. Obviously, there were some things that weren't great. I didn't like the best first down ever line thing. I didn't like that was too distracting. And it's really upsetting that they went back to the old bad field goal angle instead of the new one that they got right for the Super Bowl. So yeah, that was disappointing. And also it's disappointing that Noah Eagle's no longer there. But overall, it was still a very solid broadcast, and it's still the standard for like alternative kids broadcasting in NFL. Now that I've talked about the Nickelodeon broadcast, I guess I should actually talk about the game. So, towards like middle of the second quarter, Chargers were up 6-0. And I'm like, oh wow, the Chargers are doing really good and Texans are kind of sluggish. And so then after that, I had to like drive over to someone else's house. And then when I put the game back on, it was like 13 something to 6 Texans. And I'm like, I can't remember if it was 13-6 or if it was 10-6. I think it was 10-6. Either way, Texans were in the lead now. And I'm like, whoa, what the heck happened here? And it only got worse from there because like the Texans did not really let go from that point on, and they crushed the Chargers from then on. And even when the Chargers tried to get some momentum, the Texans blocked the kick and then run it back for a safety. And so it was an absolute beatdown by the Texans, 35-12 in the second half. And I guess, playoff scoregami, that's awesome. But also, Chargers, how did you charger up that badly? That was just, what a total collapse. And the narrative around, even with this new head coach, even with this new philosophy, even with all these changes, they're still charging it. They still haven't changed the narrative. It's crazy. So yeah, that game was a blowout. Ravens-Steelers, another blowout of a game. The Steelers, it feels like the Steelers don't actually want to the Steelers remind me a lot of the Cowboys. If the Cowboys had a 20-year-long winning streak, that's the only thing that they cared about. Because they haven't really done anything. They haven't really made a big push. They're content being middle of the road where they are, and just a very miserable performance by the Steelers. Obviously, granted, the Ravens are a great team, but you're still in the playoffs. You still got to play if you're the Steelers, and just there was no life. There was no spark, no energy with the Steelers in this game. And yeah, the Ravens cruised that one. They got a tough game against the Bills next week, and the Steelers were already in Cancun at that point. They were already mentally in Cancun the second they walked out the tunnel. So those were the two Saturday games. Sunday games, Broncos, Bills, that was a blowout. Yeah. Broncos had us for the first couple of minutes with that touchdown early, but then from after that point on, it was all Bills all day long. And the Broncos, they are just happy to be here, I guess, because it's the first time they've been in the playoff in years, and this is it's still an improvement over last year and the year before, but just a disappointing way to go out on such a hardcore blowout. But yeah, the Bills move on to face the Ravens, a revenge match for that absolute beatdown they had in Baltimore a couple of weeks back. But now it's going to be in Buffalo, so they have the home field advantage there, and that's going to be a really interesting game. And as for the other game in the AFC, it's going to be Texans-Chiefs, which, oh no. The Texans are our hope against the Chiefs. No. Yeah, that's going to, I'm rooting for the Texans. I really hope the Texans are able to beat the Chiefs. I think all of America is hoping the Texans beat the Chiefs, but I wouldn't hold my breath. All right, after that was the NFC games. Packers got blown out by the Eagles. So, yeah, the Cowboys being the only team to lose to a 17 is still standing, unfortunately. The pain. And yeah, there's not much to say about the Packers-Eagles game, except for this thing. I decided to... I bet on the Packers winning, and that failed miserably. And so that... Yeah, I lost hard on that. That was awful. So, don't gamble, kids. Next game, Commies Bucks. That was a great game. That was a really close game. The Bucks and Commanders are about the same level of quality, and so like because of that, it was a quality game. It was a close game where either team could have won it, but ultimately the Commanders made fewer mistakes and just in a very unfortunate botched handoff by Mayfield, who otherwise had a really good game, that led to the Commanders tying it, which granted also that botched handoff happened after a very dubious no call on a defensive pass interference. So, but either way, the Commanders tied it, and when the Bucks got it back, they weren't able to do anything with it, so they had to punt it. And Jalen Daniels did his Jalen Daniel things of getting into field goal range or touchdown range or just getting his team into position to score in less than 2 minutes. And yeah, it was over. The Washington wins their first playoff game since 2005. Oh my God! We got a Commanders. We got the Washington Commanders winning a playoff game before GTA 6. The last time Washington won a playoff game, I was like 2 or 3 or something. Wow. The change that happens when you're not owned by the biggest piece of garbage. So yeah, Commanders move on. They're gonna have to play the Lions, which good luck. Well, not good luck to them. I'm as a fan of a rival, not good luck to the Commanders. And so yeah, that was the Sunday games. And lastly, Monday, unfortunately, this game was at a neutral site because of the tragic wildfires in Los Angeles. And yeah, with that kind of like very serious backdrop to it, the Rams just throttled the Vikings, completely throttled them. And like, I also betted against the Vikings, or betted against the Rams. I thought the Vikings were gonna win because I'm like, okay, yeah, neutral site game, so AK Vikings, like, you know, about Rams, they don't have a lot of fans on account of the moving and stuff. And then they played freaking Fight Song before the game started. And like, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, now the Vikings are definitely going to win because when you play Fight Song, you are going to lose. But the Vikings had to follow the script, unfortunately, and the script was for them to lose and lose badly to a Los Angeles team playing with their city's heart on the line. So yeah, Los Angeles defeats the Vikings, but because the Commies beat the Buccaneers, they don't play the Lions again, and we're not going to get Matthew Stafford versus Lions and Goff game number 3. We're going to have to wait another week for that if the Rams beat the Eagles, which hopefully they do on account of, again, fan of a rival team. So yeah, that's the NFC side. It's going to be Lions, Commies, and Eagles, Rams. And so yeah, that's the playoffs for the NFL. And I guess now I should talk about the big news for the Cowboys that happened, and that is that Mike McCarthy has not agreed to terms with Jerry, and he will not be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year, which, this is a needed change. Like, I don't think McCarthy is a good coach. Like, he's made bad decisions with time management and with game management and all that stuff. We got all of one playoff win, and for a team that's been as sorely in need of playoff wins as we have, that's not enough. That's just not enough. And just, yeah, we needed this change, and I agree that this had to be done. With that said, the underlying issue of the culture around the Cowboys still hasn't been fixed, and it won't be fixed on account of Jerry's not going anywhere, and once he dies, his like son or something's taking over, which But yeah, the McCarthy era is over in Dallas. It's to be expected. This year felt like a lame duck year, like just riding out his contract, and just we don't have a lot to show for it. Yeah, we got those like 12 win seasons, but they didn't amount to anything in the playoffs. And just another wasted era of the Cowboys. For the head coach, I don't know who we're gonna pick. Obviously, I want like a young, exciting, new, up and coming coordinator. Obviously Ben Johnson. Everybody that's looking for a coach wants Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn. But obviously those are the two big ones. There are other young and upcoming OCs that are also available that I want. The Bills one that I wouldn't mind that. There's some choices that I don't think we should take. I don't think we should take Dion. I don't think Dion even wants to leave Colorado. I don't want any ex-Cowboys player like Witten or Romo. Just no. We need a shift. We don't need someone who's going to be Jerry's puppet. That's going to be exactly who we get. But just someone who can turn this thing around, give the Cowboys some new life here. And hopefully we don't botch up this head coach search. But knowing Jerry, we probably will. But that's all things football here. That's the college football playoffs. That's the start of the NFL playoffs. And that's the news on the Cowboys front. I don't know if I'll make more video. I feel I should at the very least make a video on the national championship game. And I guess if I'm doing the national championship game, I might as well do the divisional round. But I guess join us to watch the national championship game. That's not going to feature Texas, unfortunately. So and then who knows from there whether I'll keep this going or not. But thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.